What's up? My name is Lex Phillips, and this is my first ever Jiu-Jitsu competition. Obviously, a white belt. Just my experience really is about a year in no gi, and then like 2 weeks in gi. And they said there was a gi competition, and it was cheap and good. Shout out to John Haskew out in Kimball, Tennessee. He's awesome. Had this tournament, and all submissions were legal. There was a point system. Honestly, I can't even remember the points right now, exactly how it was scored. But I was really just going for the kill anyway. So, not that I had that big of an arsenal, but you can see like I'm a heel hooker, at least in this next segment. I like heel hooks, and they're not emphasized at our gym, but there's some guys that are really good with it. So it's something that I've been learning. And you can actually see later on where my grip on it was terrible, and they end up telling me about it later, and I end up finishing the next match with a heel hook. So anyway, excited about that. But all that to say, practice all aspects of jiu-jitsu, no matter what you're training. Anyway, so it's funny just telling you about my experience. There's actually an hour difference, time zone wise, between where I lived and where the tournament was being held, and I overstressed and overanalyzed the entire thing and end up being like 3 hours early to the event when I clearly didn't need to. I was texting all my friends at the gym, and I was like, hey, so where you guys at? Like, aren't we going to get here early and stretch? Like, what's going on? And they were like, you're ridiculous. What are you doing? So I ended up taking a nap in the car, and look at this. This is the terrible grip. It's awful. Anyway, they refer to it as the wristwatch grip later. Look that up, because obviously this isn't the place to see it. But anyway, yeah, I showed up like 3 hours early. I had a Quest bar and like coffee, and that's all I could really down. I wasn't big on breakfast before the competition, and honestly that worked for me. That was fine. I was nervous because it was my first competition, and I really did this competition out of a place where I wanted to prove it to myself. Like they say, jiu-jitsu competitions are the closest thing to a real fight without getting like punched in the face. And oh, look at that pass! Love it, love the pass. Anyway, they say it's the closest thing to a real fight, and I believe it for sure. It is a fight in my opinion. It's just a different set of rules. Here I am with the Kimura. I love Kimuras, by the way. With my body build and everything, I just like the way they feel. This goes into a back take. That felt good. This guy was game, though. I really liked his stuff. I mean, he was definitely a good opponent. I was trying to do like some sort of body lock, and I lost it. He just spun right into me. Obviously, that ended terribly, but better luck next time, right? I like reviewing footage. I honestly, if you're doing your first tournament, do try to show up early. I think it was worth it. I mean, not 3 hours early, God, but, do something that you're comfortable. Uma Plata, maybe? No. Do a breakfast that you're comfortable with. I wouldn't overeat or anything like that. I would really just stick with like what you mainly eat for breakfast. And honestly, I do that a lot. I do, a bar or something and coffee in the morning, just because that's the way my body likes it. And sometimes I do fasted cardio and fasted whatever breakfast. So didn't want to go too crazy on the breakfast thing. That was something for me where the nerves are concerned. Like, you're gonna have them, and it's good because like that's what you're trying to work with, not through. Because I say work with it because you want to use that to your advantage to be sharp mentally and in the game. And I'm so glad I did this competition, because people say like, oh, I'm not ready or whatever. Like, you'll never be ready. Like, you have to do it and learn what your weakness is. It's a weird thing when you drill and train and spar with the same guys over and over again, and they start to learn your game. So when you go to a complete question mark of an opponent that you've never met before or sparred with or anything, like, it'll really test you because you don't know what's coming. So I think it's awesome. I would encourage anybody who's a white belt that hasn't done their first tournament, that's thinking about it or anything, like, definitely do it. Like, you won't regret it. A tap if you're about to break something, obviously. Like, don't worry about that. It's possible that you'll get injured. Competition is the place to do it. But if you're thinking about it all, I say head first, dive in. It's amazing. Like, I love the feeling. I honestly look back and get goosebumps when I watch competition footage. Not that I'm good or anything, but just because I threw myself out there and tried my best. Like, he got side control on me here. Like, I felt so terrible. I didn't want him to get side control. And he tried to throw a leg over, and I couldn't exactly tell you what he's going for here. Just to be honest, I didn't feel like too much in danger. I didn't like his leg over my head for sure. But here I was able to frame, boom, and get that leg over. That's something that I really love doing. I'm sure he wasn't expecting that. I don't know if he has people do that to him in his gym, but that's one of my things. I try to get a leg in when I can. I'm fairly flexible. So I end up on bottom. And this is a thing I'd like to say too. Like, I have habits of going to bottom naturally. And I know that's like part of jiu-jitsu, but like that's somewhat of a weakness for me because I started jiu-jitsu on bottom because I had, somebody influential in my life say, hey, you might as well get used to that because you're small and people will take you down and you want to be able to, fight from there. And I love it. Like I like bottom, but it doesn't necessarily help you in the point scheme sometimes. But, know your tendencies and know when it can work for you and can't. I think I get a sweep here. Watch this. Yep. Look at the leg. Get on up. Hey, shout out to my coaches, too. I had Sterling, Grayson, and Eli shouting from the corner, and guys from our gym. They were awesome. Honestly, like, it helps so much. So if you can get, a community to go with you or go with the community, like, that makes everything. Go out to eat afterward. It's an experience. I think that's life. That's part of jiu-jitsu. Like, that's part of what makes it great. Here I am. I don't actually pass that often pinning the shoulder or the hips that way. So that was fun. I was honestly getting so tired now too. Like that's one thing, like you want to try to make sure that you're in shape as much as you can before you go. Like roll though. I mean, you can do outside things like run and all that, but like get into jiu-jitsu shape. Not that I was out of shape or anything, but this is going to take it out of you like nothing else. Like I think he trapped my head here. I was able to get out. It's hard to breathe when that gi's over top of you. I'll tell you. Not much of a gi guy yet. I'm still working on it, but it was definitely interesting. I know he's got the body lock on me here, but I was kind of tired. And the one thing I swear I wouldn't have done was sit there and like ever stall because I was tired. That was like my pet peeve. And sadly, I did a little bit of that for maybe like 5 seconds. It was a tough, long match. I think it was like 8 minutes total. I know this makes for a long video, but I mean, this was my first ever competition, and it was crazy. It went the time distance. It's pretty interesting finish too. Here at the end, he gets this beautiful armbar set up, and I'm just gonna let you listen to it.
Hold on, Lex. Hold on, Lex. Hitchhike, Lex.
Yeah, and so I was able to survive, and when I say survive, I mean like he should have won this match off of that submission right there because he was just seconds away from finishing it. Honestly, my armbar escape is terrible. That's something that obviously I wanted to focus on from here out. And honestly, I learned so much. I had a blast. The guys I met, competed against were amazing. Jiu-jitsu tournaments are awesome. I highly encourage you to do a jiu-jitsu match. It will change your life literally in some way or another. It's awesome. Please go do it. If you have any questions about my experience, feel free to comment or message me. I would love to talk to you about it. Just go do it, man. It's going to be awesome.